As you familiar the word letting go, that will be very familiar phrase for many students of Buddhist teaching. Letting go. What is the importance of letting go? Should we let go? If we should, how do we? How do we do it? Is that what Buddhism is all about? Is that what Buddha really talk about? Letting go? You will agree with me that in pretty much every circles in which Buddhist, in Buddhism, in Buddhist philosophy, you will hear this phrase quite a lot, letting go. It is one of the axioms of Buddhism. It is considered to be the purpose of Buddhism, achieving the ability to let go. And in the name of letting go, you see all sorts of, yeah, in clergy as well as lay people engage in various practices, rituals, and lifestyles where they try to live a very simple life, very modest life letting go. Letting go is also quite celebrated throughout the world, and I see there is a reason for that is because for someone who is able to live modestly, then there's little that required for sustenance, which of course mean in world where people are often all sorts of things, and in world where people believe success is in having much, and say most people, then to be in the presence of people or others who have little wants and needs is of course quite welcome, because then there is less competition. So if someone else wants less, it means I can have more. That's a natural, yeah, formula. People who want less are celebrated. But what is the Buddha talk about? What is his approach to letting go? And is that what Buddhist philosophy is all about? Other things that you have tried to letting go in your life? I want you to take a moment, think about these things as we have this discussion. You will know that the prince Siddhartha, who later became Buddha, his story usually begins with renunciation. That is letting go of whole life of luxury. He was a royal prince and he let go. He let go of his lay life, all his worldly riches, wealth, and royal family, beautiful wife, kingdom, newly born son, best friends, and went off into the bush. He shaved his head and wore the robe. He lived a very life in the jungle, the spiritual awakening. So most of you are familiar with these stories, and you will be. It is perfectly fine if you ask. Yeah, if you raise a question, are you doing these things? Yes. Then now let's look at the pro side of these things. A lot of people try to do and try let go and live life, modest life. On the one hand, for someone who is able to let go of, say, their loved one, for instance, that is one of the most difficult things to let go. It One of the reasons that they are, yeah, implying to do that, the people know, people, they are fully, yeah, fully well. All things decay and die. There's no surprise on that. People, everything that is with us and around us today will one day pass away, will decay and die. So when loved ones are concerned, the same is inevitable, and we all know this. It's no surprise. Everyone know. Maybe as very young children, there's one day they, in their lives, they will understand the reality. I remember when my life, it was shock to me when I first day when I got to know that my parents are passed away. Right from people usually, right from the earlier, they tend to become pretty common. They You could be forgiven, letting go. It is the path to achieving satisfaction, happiness, and fulfillment. Because if eventually and inevitably all things have to pass away, decay, and die, then when the inevitable happens one day, that must leave you quite, yeah. If you are able to let go of all of these things, when you have chance, where where it, yeah, when it is your choice, you would be better for. So I think people think of letting go, and they choose to let go, and the choice is probably, if not all the time, most of the time, based on this one fact is, and the same other materials things as well, your cars, your vehicles, your wealth, your houses, whatever money you earn, the property, everything, most of the other things, and anything that you have acquired and built around you, eventually you will have to let go, because either they will be taken away from you or you will be taken away from them, right? One of these things must happen, will happen. So as I said, this may be one of the reasons why people are so focused on letting go, and they consider that Buddhist philosophy, teaching of Buddhist philosophy is about letting go. So to try and live a very modest life, very, yeah, life, and perhaps people believe that contentment is that, to have yeah, very little thing around you. Some people may be around them against yeah, against the idea of having even pets. Yeah, very difficult to letting go of your loved one, your parents. Then when you consider even a pet, with difficult ones, eventually, inevitably, when the day come, it's going to be taken away from it, or you are going to be taken away from it. Why bother? Why why eventually you have to let go? And isn't the objective, the purpose, the goal of Buddhist to try and work some magic, whatever that might be? So we live as a question for the moment, all sorts of things. It is quite common to see that people strive to achieve the ability to let go of material life that surrounds you. Now, before I say anything more on that particular topic, let me also point out that in Buddhist philosophy, there is a concept of what you give and what you get. And I don't think that is something that confined to only to Buddhist philosophy. It is it is a nature that eh, some other religions might teach, some other, yeah, some other philosophies as well. Anyway, one that triggered us quite highly varies in numerous occasions. Buddha also talk about this. What you give is what you get. What goes around and comes around. So Buddhism also refers to this as karma. Again, it is a word that may be alien to some of you, but I imagine it's a word that we have come to adapt into English language today. I'm surprised to find any good English dictionary that does not feature this word karma. It's very difficult to explain in English, which loosely interprets as what you do, what you get, something like that. By extension, what you do unto others happens to you back. Here's the thing. What's the connection between what I just said and what we talked about earlier? Concept and letting go. Well, you see, the Buddha is renowned for his principles and his advice and instructions to not only monks but also others, like people as well, to try and be as generous as you can be to others. To give charity features quite heavily in Buddhist philosophy. So, we are encouraged to give to others good and positive things: food, shelters, clothing, medicines, whatever, many, other material stuff. And not just material things, but also things that, such as yeah, love, affection, caring, smile, a helping hand in difficult time, empathy, all these things. Because what you give is what you get. So now here we have a dilemma. What is that? Well, you see, a philosophy which encourages giving and charity so much, philosophy in which generosity and charity is featured so highly, where people are encouraged to give, well, you can't stop getting back what you give, because that is a principle. It's a fundamental principle how the universe works. What you give is what you get. So when you are encouraged to give, there's nothing you can do to not to get back what you give. So if you give food to those who need it, hardly will you have today where you go hungry. If you give money, then usually you will hardly find yourself with a lot of month and left end of the money left at the end of the money. Usually when people know that there is a difficult time when there's month left at the end of the money. And if you give a smile, normally what you get back, obviously you get a smile. If you give encouraging word, you usually what you get back. You see, whatever you give, you get back. You keep this mind